matchups.
Interesting.
Hi everyone, we are back for the other quarterfinal match. We got Michael Belfatto versus Bernie Wen. The aptly named green-black value town that we saw earlier today against Bernie Wen on Grixis Delver, not Grixis Test Shadow.
Yeah, this is a pretty sweet match here, guys. Both these players have been on the Pro Tour, I believe, and they're playing decks that are sort of not well. Neither of these decks is popular right now.
Yeah, they're not conventional enough.
Except, well, Bernie's is the best deck in Legacy right now.
Sure.
But of course, he's not playing Legacy Grixis Delver. So I'm pretty excited. By the way, do you guys remember earlier when we mentioned Shadow of Doubt?
Yeah,
coming
out
from
of Belf's deck.
Yeah, from Belf. He actually has 1 in the main board and 2 more in the sideboard.
See, he is stifling some land.
Yeah, he is ready to Shadow of Doubt. He's ready to be beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Justin, change the camera, please. Thank you.
So let's see. We got a turn 1 Inquisition.
Inquisition.
Murderous
Looking
Cut,
at Bernie's hand. Yeah,
Mag Angler, Thoughtseize, Collector Brutality,
Kolaghan's
Command.
Main deck collectives. That's interesting.
Yeah, how many are there? Just 1, I guess. Seems fine.
Sure. So I wonder what you take here. So anything you take is helping fuel the Delve creatures, of course, but maybe you just take Thoughtseize.
Also, of note, Bernie's deck has only 3 Delvers and then 3 Young Myros. Just 3 Delver of Secrets. Interesting.
Yeah, so Belf opted to take the Thoughtseize there. That makes sense.
That seems fine.
Also, Pony Slay Station. There was 58 people here today at the IQ.
Yep, 6 rounds of Swiss.
So Bernie leading on Scalding Tone. Gonna pass the turn. I wonder if Bernie really knows what Belf's deck is about. I'm sure they're obviously, they know each other and they've talked, but his deck is definitely very unique, I'd say.
Yeah, at first you're inclined to think like, oh, he's just playing Jund with no bolts or Kolaghan's, and it's not anywhere near that.
Yeah, no, it isn't.
It's like
nothing like that.
It doesn't have Dark Confidant. It doesn't have Grim Flayer.
So here's an Inquisition. Bernie's like, yeah, I drew Watery Grave, and so that takes Kolaghan's or Brutality. Gonna take Kolaghan's. That seems good.
Fine.
Okay. Michael is picking apart the hand of Bernie
that's
here.
3 discard spells so far.
So down goes everything but Tasigur and Collective Brutality.
Wow.
I wonder what although I mean, of course, Michael has used 3 of his own spells there, so he's down to 3 cards in hand as well.
Sure.
Looks like one of them is a Tasigur, so this might just be the Tasigur mirror.
He can most likely cast the Tasigur next turn.
As can Bernie.
I suppose you have to assume that Michael Belfatto wins this game in the long run, right?
Yeah. After what we saw from the first showing on camera, his deck seems very well tuned to go long.
It's interesting though because Kolaghan's Snapcaster is very powerful in the long game, but geez, I mean, it's hard to beat Worm Harvest.
Okay, so Bernie just went Mountain Pass instead of opting to play Tasigur. I guess that makes sense. And Belf is going to opt to play his Tasigur. So that takes out his whole graveyard, but of course he is Tasigur, which he's going to get remanded.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
that
so
was a very good
remand
draw.
is very good here. Mike is not going to be able to cast that Tasigur for a while.
Yeah, that was a really good play from Bernie.
Yeah.
The one card Belf didn't know about.
Yeah, remand's not super popular in Modern right now, but Bernie's using it to great effect today, I guess. He's got 2 of them in the main board.
Bernie's going to play his Watery Grave and then pass the turn. He's even got Mana Leak and Bolt. Ooh, Lily the Veil, that's going to mean a Mana Leak. All right, well.
Yeah, we see the efficiency of some of these blue cards holding off the black green deck trying to curve out. That's a pretty typical trope that we see in these kinds of matchups, but it's not something we've seen for a while. I sort of feel like we're watching Grixis Twin right now.
Sure. Interestingly, no player has actually done anything.
Yeah.
Right. It's either been discard or counters.
And they're they're essentially at parity on cards.
Right.
Except to the extent that the remand drew Bernie a card, and in some ways it sort of cut Mike off the tasker pretty severely because of the delving away his graveyard, but...
Well, discard mode not hitting anything there. We got Tasker and Kalitas.
Yeah, and Bernie's removal spell in hand is a Lightning Bolt. He doesn't have... Oh, no, he's got a Murderous Cut, right?
He has at least a Bolt. That's a Tasker, I think. Oh, no, it is a Murderous Cut. You're right, yeah.
Yeah, no, Bernie's got Murderous Cut, Bolt. But that can only deal with one of these threats.
Oh, here's Tasker.
And Belfatto knows about the Murderous Cut, so it looks like he values Kalitas more than Tasker here.
And I think I would. Kalitas is very powerful.
I wonder if Bernie holds on to the Murderous Cut.
Sure.
Do you think he cares much about Tasker? I mean, Michael's graveyard is empty now, so he's going to be relying off the top deck to get good cards from Tasker's active. I think Bernie wants to use this Murderous Cut on Kalitas over Tasker.
So, do we think there's a reason Bernie plays with some of his cards upside down?
My guess is he didn't. As he's putting them into his hand, he didn't know, and then he doesn't want to look silly on camera or to his opponent by fumbling them around.
I guess.
That's my guess. Either that, or some of them are switched different ways in the deck, and then we need to judge.
No, I'm sure that's not the case. So we're gonna get in there with Tasker, and Bernie got in there with the Delver, but the oh right, okay. So he leaves the cards upside down that his opponent knows about. That's actually what I thought, but I didn't realize that. Oh, I guess he had to reveal the Thought Scour. That makes sense.
Oh, that's interesting.
I know a lot of players do that.
Yeah, I've actually never heard of anyone doing that.
Really?
That's a neat tactic. So Bernie does win this race here, but I think we know it's not going to come down to a straight race between Tasker and Delver of Secrets.
That is a pretty good mill there.
So what was it? Tarmogoyf and what?
Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, Abrupt Decay that's the card that Bernie doesn't want to see. Delver of Secrets lives and dies by that card.
But if you give him Tarmogoyf, then you got 3 big threats to deal with, and that does change the race mathematics a little bit. Alright, he gave him Goyf. Bernie's hand is Murderous Cut, Bolt, land.
Of course, so Bernie can actually... a strategic Murderous Cut here might be able to make the Goyf small enough to be bolted.
Sure. Yeah, that's true.
I'm not sure. I can't see the full graveyards, but I think that might be the case.
Yeah. It looks like Belf has drawn a Courser here, so he's going to lead with that.
Courser's pretty good. That also means that Mike can fetch this Verdant Catacombs without taking any life.
Right. Another Kalitas on top. Huh.
That's both of them in the main board.
Yeah.
That's actually both in the 75, so... Seems like a good card in the match.
Alright, Buff just passes the turn. Bernie drew a Fatal Push. Okay, well that's pretty good.
Yeah, Fatal Push off the top is actually very good here. Does Bernie have a fetch land available?
Yes.
Okay, now he does. So yeah, you can take out the Courser with that, and possibly bolt the Goyf with a good Murderous Cut. I'm not sure how possible that is.
Yeah. The problem he faces now is that Belf is going to get 2 Kalitas. I guess he doesn't have enough mana to cast both. Well, I mean, obviously he couldn't be able to cast both of them, but...
Oh, Ghost Quarter plating off the top is pretty good here. In fact, Michael can actually...
Ghost Quarter himself.
Yeah, gain himself life by Ghost Quartering himself.
Although, that only puts him to 9, which currently doesn't change the clock.
Snapcaster from Bernie just wins him the game, right?
Yeah. So we're seeing how large the Goyf is. So Goyf is a 4/5. Belf is going to play his Ghost Quarter and gain a life. Wait, can Belf just win here?
Well, not through Murderous Cut.
Sure, and Bolt can take out a Treetop Village if he goes for that, but he doesn't know about the Bolt. In fact, Bernie's hand is just 3 removal spells. Yeah, this is a tough spot. Alright, he's gonna activate both Tree Chops. I think I would have left the Ghost Quarter untapped.
But then, well, yeah, because if you fetch for a basic forest here, you don't lose any life.
Well, sure, but
that's what I'm saying. You're right.
Yeah, you don't gain any life. You mean?
Yeah, you don't. Well, you don't lose any.
I guess there's no difference between being at 8 and being at 9.
Now Bernie's not just dead, right? He can Murderous Cut the Tasker. He can bolt a Treetop Village,
push a
1, 2, 3, 4, and then whatever he Murderous Cuts with. Well, I wish I could see both their graveyards laid out.
Tasker's a 4/5, or I mean the course of 4/5.
Yeah, but it's not.
Oh, we don't know if
it's
they
not
have
a
land
it's
or
not a
whatever.
4/5 with just Mike's graveyard, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Burn his ability to delve with Murderous Cut here.
Yeah.
Can change the math. Oh, well, he's shocking, so he must be more than alive. Can you really afford to go to 6?
Apparently. But that means he must have a line for lethal on the back, right? So we're gonna push. Goif, okay. Cut Tassiger.
And bolt
a village.
Bolt a village and take 5, go to 1.
Yeah, I guess. Just bank on drawing damage off the top, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so Michael is at 8. Delver swings for 3.
How can you even... There's nothing you can draw, right?
I don't think so. I guess, well, you can... If you draw a Snapcaster, you can not attack... You can use Delver to trade with a... You can use Delver to trade with... Except for that...
You can't use Delver to trade with a village because it is trample and you die.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right.
So I mean, maybe Bernie was just dead no matter how he did it.
Yeah, I can't think of any top decks.
So he needs... I guess if he top decks Kolaghan's Command, no.
Yeah, Kolaghan's Command can't kill a village.
Yeah, or Courser.
Yeah, double Treetop Village really seems to be coming up big.
I guess if he finds Snapcaster, he can chump block Courser, snap bolt the village, and then he stays alive for another turn.
Yeah.
Or he could just jaws up bolts. I guess if he draws any removal spell, he can chump for a turn. So maybe that's the line he's playing too. But then he's not really advancing his board side. His Khalid is kind of proven endgame for... Yeah, that's a land, so... Yeah, go to game 2.
Treetop Village been really good for Michael Belfatto today. He's only got 2 of them in the deck, but I think every game we've seen him play, he's had 2 Treetop Villages in play.
Yeah. So, moving to sideboard here. We do have access to the players' lists. Bernie has some Blood Moons in his sideboard. I think I like those. The Blood Moons seem good. He has Spell Bombs, which seem good.
Blood Moon.
Ancestral Visions also could be good if he's planning on the game going long and grindy, as we've seen games with Belf deck go before.
Yeah, Blood Moon seems fine. I'm wondering if Bernie sort of has to go on the most aggressive possible plan.
Yeah.
If he thinks he just loses the long game.
It could be the case.
But, God, Ancestral Vision... Bernie's got 2 Ancestral in the sideboard, which just seems tempting, right?
Yeah. How about on Belf's end?
Well, from Belf, I actually like Shadow of Doubt. Maybe 1 more coming in if you can just try to blow up your opponent. I mean, you know that Bernie's probably on at least 10 fetch lands, right?
Right. Flaying Tendrils, it seems like it could be good in some game states, but could be really bad in others.
I assume that's what's nice about Bernie's deck is sort of like a Death Shadow deck. It's got threat diversity.
Right.
You know, you've got Gurmag and Tasker, but you've also got Pyro and Delver, and that makes it really tough to sideboard around.
Yeah.
I wonder if we do see Flaying Tendrils come in, but gosh, what comes out, you know? I feel like you want the Abrupt Decay still, you want the Victim of Night, you want the Murderous Cut, the Maelstrom Pulse, the Fatal Push. Thoughtseize might be... I wonder if Belf values the hand disruption highly.
Yeah.
Because obviously in these Grixis decks, anything you take away from them, they can sort of get back.
Sure.
Of course, in that game we saw Belf's 3 hand disruption spells to start the game off fared pretty well for him. But in sort of the larger picture, it's like, what's the point of taking your opponent's Snapcaster when they can get it back with Kolaghan's, and vice versa?
Right.
So tough choices here for both players, really. Both of them are playing, in some ways, kind of similar decks.
Yeah.
These mid-rangey, diverse, sort of offbeat decks right now, but both are incredibly powerful. And both decks seem to be really highly skill-intensive.
Definitely. BR Right 11, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it.
Do we think Belf wants the Knight of Souls Betrayal? Kills all Snapcasters. It kills all Delvers.
Yeah, if he knows that Bernie's on
flipped.
Pyromaster, I think you probably bring it in.
I think he knows, because Bernie's been playing Pyro like forever like this.
Sure.
So I bet Belf knows. And gosh, if I mean, Knight of Souls Betrayal shuts down this game. I mean, any Delver can no longer.
Not flipped, yeah.
It just dies.
Although Knight of Souls Betrayal is very bad against remand. If you tap out on turn 4 hoping to resolve it to kill a Pyromancer or whatever.
Sure.
And it gets remanded, you're really far behind.
Sure, that's fair. Worm Harvest seems good as always, but again, it's pretty bad against remand too.
Yeah, definitely is.
Because if you retrace, wait a minute.
It goes back to your hand. Yeah.
If you retrace a worm,
it can get remanded to your hand.
It goes back to your hand. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And that can actually be kind of awkward because, well, I guess it's fine. These remand plays sort of make some of these big mana plays from the black-green awkward.
Yeah.
I think both of them, they both have Nile Spellbomb, right?
Yeah. I think it's better on Bernie's end than it is on Belf's end.
Yeah, I think they both get pretty good use out of it. So Bernie has 4 big Delve threats plus Murderous Cut. So he's got 5 big Delve spells, whereas Belf only has, I think, 2 Taskers and no Anglers, of course. But then he also has a Murderous Cut. So actually, Belf has 2 Murderous Cuts. So interesting decks. I'm actually very excited for this next game.
So Bernie will be on the play, of course. Meaning his hand disruption is going to come down first. Players are thinking over their hands. I think Bernie's... Well, it looks like they both capped. Okay. So Bernie can lead on Serum Visions here.
Spire Bluff Canal seems good.
Yep. So he drew a Snapcaster.
Life totals are pretty relevant here, as we saw last game.
Yeah. Belf leading on the untapped Overgrown Tomb. And a Raven's Crime.
Okay. That's not one I would have thought you wanted in the deck still.
It doesn't seem great, but I guess it's kind of like an ultimatum where you can just make your opponent discard some cards.
Yeah, I guess. Discard the Bolt. Interesting.
Alright, Bernie's just going to play a Scalding Tarn and pass. See if Belf has any more hand disruption here. He's got a Ghost Quarter and a...
I guess a Tarmogoyf? Yeah.
Yep.
Tarmogoyf is a 3/4 after that fetch?
Yes. Does not die to Bolt.
Interestingly, Bernie could have bolted that without fetching. It would have been dead.
Said he's going to opt to Fatal Push it, meaning he will have to get a shock land. Puts himself to 17.
Well, and of course that sort of nullifies Bernie's scry from the Serum Visions.
That's true. Yeah, I think he bottomed 2 lands. So.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. So turn 3 for
But
Bernie.
either way, that devalues the
the
Serum Visions because you can't guarantee those lands are on the bottom now.
Right. Looks like Bernie's got a Kolaghan's Command. He could play a Delve Threat here. I don't think he's going to run out Snapcaster Visions. Yep.
Yep, nice way to gain some card advantage. Seems fine.
Do a second Kolaghan's Command. All right.
Lots of Kolaghan. Ooh, with Blood Moon.
Yeah, I like those out of the
so
board.
So he only has a basic island right now. Does he have another fetch available in hand?
I'm not sure. He definitely hasn't been playing as though he had Blood Moon so far. But
I mean, Blood Moon would be good here against
Although
Belfs.
he couldn't really have played like this. He had a fetch for a black source with that Scalding Tarn, so...
Right, to get Fatal Push.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Belf right now is not prepared for Blood Moon.
No, that's...
Now, if Belf makes the decision to leave Ghost Quarter up, he can be a little bit prepared, but that always feels bad, having to Ghost Quarter yourself.
And here's a Treetop Village.
Oh, and he's still pretty susceptible here.
Discarding Tech Edge for Raven's Crime.
Okay, discard the Steam Vents.
Steam Vents. Did he draw the Blood Moon?
I think we...
No, it looks like he bottomed the Blood Moon.
Yeah, I guess he didn't want it with just a basic island.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting here, though. But for one thing you got to consider, and I think Bernie knows this, Belf has a shit ton of basic lands.
Yeah.
He's probably got 2 forests and like 3 or 4 swamps.
And he has Abrupt Decays, which can take out the Blood Moon eventually, so...
Well, once you find a forest and a swamp.
Sure. So here comes Gurmag Angler. Ready to wrangle. Or angle, I guess. Belf's gonna fetch. Do we think he fetches the basic here? Or does he not care about Blood Moon?
I
think not even think about Blood Moon.
I think he has to respect it. Yeah, he's respecting it.
All right.
And he's also respecting his life total too.
Yeah.
Seems fine.
Is this the traitor? No, it's going to be a Murderous Cut.
Murderous Cut, all right.
Taking down Gurmag Angler. Interestingly, he paid full mana for it and just delved away 1, keeping his graveyards readily stocked.
Yeah, seems fine. Didn't have anything else to do with the mana this turn.
He needs to keep the lands in his graveyard for loam, and he wants to keep the Raven's Crime in there.
I mean, Bernie's not too happy about just having a Gurmag Angler in his yard.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, he delved away a couple of bolts.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So Bernie has an Ancestral Visions here. So this is actually pretty good here for the long game, I think.
Yeah, so I guess Bernie wasn't necessarily sold on the aggro plan.
Yeah.
I think he just wants to be able to play the long game, and Visions is a great way to do that.
Although Bernie does have 2 Kolaghan's Command in hand, which don't really seem like they're going to be very good like anytime soon.
Well, yeah, and the problem in this match is they don't kill anything.
No.
In Mike's deck, and the discard mode is not good against Mike, because if you let him choose what he's going to discard, you can discard Raven's Crime, Worm Harvest, Life from the Loam,
Obstinate Baloth.
Yeah.
Belf had a Tasker there, so that makes more sense why he wanted to get the cards out of his graveyard. Although now Goyf is only a 1/2, since he had to delve away his own graveyard, and Bernie only has the Angler left.
Yeah, the graveyard.
So this is one of the few times where Kolaghan's Command can be really good.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, kill the Goyf, get back Gurmag Angler,
and
I think we see him do it.
Yeah, that might be the line. He's gonna play his Mountain first.
This is interesting. I mean, the way these players have to manage one another's
so how
graveyards
does this work?
is very interesting.
So Goyf, if Kolaghan's Command goes to the yard, Goyf survives, but if he takes the Gurmag Angler back, it won't.
Yeah, because it'll temporarily be a 2/3, I guess. Actually, no, it will never be a 2/3. But even if it was,
because it resolves simultaneously,
yeah,
right?
And even if there was a land in the yard or something, it would by the end of the turn have 2 damage on it and have less than 3 toughness.
Right.
So.
All right, Belf's in there with Tassiger. Still has 3 cards in hand, but he's just gonna pass the turn.
Yeah. This graveyard game is just it's like a mind game.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way these players. I mean, Delve is not just a way of you know, of making your cards cost less. It has other purposes far beyond that. And each of these players is managing one another's graveyards and their own graveyards in very careful ways, which is very relevant with Goyf, and of course with cards like Gurmag Angler, Snapcaster, and Delver.
Definitely. So Bernie found a Serum Visions there. He has another Kolaghan's Command in hand. I think he maybe has a Delve Thread. I see some black cards there on the left. I think he needs to find an answer to Tasker here. It looks like Belf's plan is just to activate Tasker at this end step, get something back from his graveyard. Kept both on top of the Serum Visions. Does not bode well for Belf. In for 2 with Snapcaster. And I think we might just see Bernie pass the turn. No, it looks like he's going to go with a Thought Scour. Main phase Thought Scour, okay. Mills Blood Moon Pyromancer.
Right. Cat's out of the bag.
Draws Terminate. Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Terminate's not bad at all.
End step, activate Tasker. Bernie's thinking about terminating in response here.
It doesn't really matter. He's gonna get the card either way.
Yeah.
So.
Looks like that's what we're gonna go with. I guess it gives
him the option of giving him back Tasker.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Thoughtseize land.
I think you give him back. Do you give him back the Goyf? Because you can push the Goyf.
Sure, he's gonna give him back Thoughtseize actually. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Bernie's about to draw 3 cards off the Ancestral. So.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair. And Thoughtseize makes his opponent lose 2 life.
Yeah.
And actually, at this point, I mean, Belf's down to 11. Thoughtseize takes him to 9. Bolt, snap, bolt. Bolt, snap, bolt's always real.
Here's Thoughtseize. He's got Angler, Tassiger, and Kolaghan's Command.
Interesting. So
well, that actually helps him fuel one of his threats. So that's
yeah. So if you take the Kolaghan's, you help him cast the other 2 threats. If you take one of the other threats, he gets it back with Kolaghan's.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So Bernie, I think that's probably why we saw Bernie take choose the Thoughtseize. Take the Tasker. Interesting. So yeah. So Bernie can't by choosing Tasker, Bernie cannot cast Gurmag Angler with what's, currently.
Right.
He's got 4 lands, only 2 cards in the yard. Whereas if he chose Angler, he could have cast Tassiger.
Are lists for IQs posted online?
Yeah, they typically are, but it depends on the judges running the tournament. You can get them posted, and a lot of IQs do get posted on like MTG Top 8 and MTG Goldfish.
Yeah.
But not all of them.
So if you want to see the green-black deck list, keep an eye out for that since he is at least in the quarterfinals here. You might be able to see the deck list. So Bernie attack with Snapcaster, and Belf just turned on his Treetop Village to block, and now Bernie navigated the game in such a way to get maximum value out of both of his Kolaghan's commands.
Well, I'm sort of glad this the finals came down to these 2. These are probably 2 of the best local players. And oh, that's right. We still have another. Yeah, that's right. I forgot these guys were playing so slow.
Or semifinals, just not quarterfinals.
Right. It's a semifinals.
I keep getting confused about that.
The winner of this match is going to play Affinity, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's semifinals here.
So, Ancestral Visions obviously resolves her, restocks Bernie's hand, and Belf has missed a land drop for quite a few turns here. I wonder what is in his hand. So Bernie drew at least 2 lands off of that Visions.
Which is fine. Lands are good here, especially when your graveyard's not that full. It allows you to, more easily power those Delve threats out.
Sure. Looks like he's gonna be playing a Delve threat here. Yeah, you definitely want to get rid of Visions. He's gonna leave Kolaghan's Command, Terminate, and Push, I think.
Well, if this game goes for too much longer, and Michael Belfatto does not find some meaningful life gain in the form of a Courser or an Obstinate Baloth.
Or Kalidas.
Or Kalidas, Bernie is just going to be able to throw some burn spells at his face.
Right.
Especially if Mike's, next few land drops end up being fetches or shocks.
Sure.
Well, shocks are fine. I think he just puts the shocks in tapped at this point.
Yeah.
But fetches could be pretty bad.
And granted, Belf has missed quite a few land drops, so I'm not really sure what the contents of his hand are. I guess some removal spells probably, but can't be sure. So Bernie fetched his land before doing this delve. So here is Grimag Angler again, and Bernie's gonna delve away 5 cards, leaving up 3 mana, and he's gonna pass the turn.
Knight of Soul's Betrayal from Michael Belfatto.
So this is one of these situations where that's not very good.
Oh, so we thought he was going to play the Knight of Soul's Betrayal there, but goes for the Damnation.
Yeah.
It's a 1-for-1. It's a fine Damnation.
Belf really has not hit a land drop in quite a few turns here, though. Another Visions from Bernie just keeps accruing card advantage.
Yeah, I wonder if... it seemed weird, but did Bernie take the young Pyros out?
No, we saw him mill one.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah.
It is interesting that these players only have 4 and 5 lands. Okay, there's land number 6 for Bernie. Both of them are really struggling to hit land drops.
Yeah, I think it's less relevant for Bernie than it is for.
Yeah, sure.
He's another angler. All right.
Okay, seems fine. Mike's thinking, man, I should have gone for the Maelstrom Bulls. I don't even think Bernie plays
the second.
Yeah, I don't think at any
not.
point in the game does Bernie want to play out 2 creatures with the same name.
Yeah,
if he can avoid it.
All right, so there's another angler. See if Belf has an answer to this one. He's going to play his tapped Overgrown Tomb, and he cannot Victim of Night this one. No, here's the Knight of Soul's Betrayal. Stem them bleeding a bit, but
so
with
my guess is Bernie lets that thing resolve. That could be really bad, but I don't think Bernie has. He probably took out Delver, right?
Maybe. Do you take Delver out of Grixis Delver?
We've been over. I think sometimes you do, especially against a deck with Abrupt Decay.
Yeah.
But who knows?
So Belf falls to 5 there off the Glenalendra Archmage. So
interestingly, that thing is not going to be very good here. It's a 1/1 flyer instead of a 2/2, and it won't be able to get the second persist trigger.
Yeah.
Ooh, Soul of Innistrad. Wow.
Let's get it.
Now, admittedly, the Soul of Innistrad is only a 5/5 and not a 6/6.
Sure, but it blocks the fish.
It does.
Now, are we remanding it?
Oh no!
Terminate. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, that does put a.
But the thing about the way that card works is you can pay 5 mana to exile it from your graveyard to still draw 3 cards.
Sure. But I think Belf is just dead here to the attack from Gurmag plus Alendra.
Well, that's only 5 damage.
Yeah, but he's at 5.
Oh, I thought he was at 9.
No, he took a hit from the angler last turn after playing the Knight of Soul's Betrayal.
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
All right, well, Bernie takes game 2.
Yeah, yes, it's a
pretty good match.
Yeah. So I wonder if Bernie. Do you think Bernie plays differently, knowing about
the Knight of Soul's
Betrayal?
Yeah, I don't know.
Looks like neither of them are sideboarding.
No,
okay, here we go. So Bernie's going back into the sideboard. Let's see if he actually changes any cards. It looks like Belf is just going straight to pile shuffling.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe Belf likes the configuration. Yeah, Bernie, they're just talking about some play, so I think Belf was probably dead there regardless of what he did, because Bernie had 2 removal spells through Snapcaster and Terminate. He needed to find a way to remove the Gurmag Angler, but unfortunately he just found a giant zombie elemental thing. What is Soul of Innishrad's card? It's an avatar. Okay, that's interesting. So that's from M15, really? Huh.
Yeah, the whole cycle is from M15.
Yeah. I know Soul of Ravnica I remember that one. So Bernie is asking for the exact text on the Soul of Innistrad.
Yeah, so the card's pretty good. You see it up here on the screen. It operates in the same way that all of these souls of different planes do, which is they have 2 abilities, and the abilities are identical, except for one of them is an activated ability on the creature, and the other one is on the creature card that it can be used while it's in the graveyard.
Oh, so there's even, I didn't realize this, but Soul of New Phyrexia is, of course, the colorless version of this cycle.
Yeah, and that card could or should see some play in certain like Tron decks or Eldrazi Tron decks. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Give your team indestructible.
Yeah. What's that card that the one that looks like a big sort of like, it sort of looks like a Hangerback Walker spider. It's like a 6-drop artifact. I think it's
Scuttling Doom Engine.
Scuttling Doom Engine. Yeah, that's the one. That card's pretty good, isn't it? Doesn't it like dole out 6 damage or something?
Yeah, when it dies, it's a 6/6 for 6, and when it dies, it deals 6 damage to something, and it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. This is the semifinals of the top 8. So the other semifinals match is already concluded. So these players are playing for their chance at the finals.
Yeah, the winner of this match will play Affinity in the finals, piloted by
Ken.
I think it's Ken Parson.
Yeah.
There's a local player. I think I've played against him in Dayton, but I'm not sure I've ever played against him here in Cincinnati. Or in Mason, rather. Soul of Ravnica. This one is probably the best one in EDH. Because if you play like a 4 or 5 color deck, that's a pretty sweet activated ability.
Yeah, I remember this was like the poster card of one of the Magic Duels online games. Like I think it was like Magic 2015 or something. And you could actually get a special alternate art of this card if you like submitted something. But that was before I actually played Paper Magic.
Soul of Theros is also pretty sweet, isn't it? Doesn't it like give things like lifelink and like +2/+2 or something? I think and First Strike, yeah.
Yeah.
Card's pretty sweet.
All right, so we're here for game 3. Let's see if players like their opening hands. Looks like they do.
I've never seen that Soul of Ravnica promo.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about for the Magic Duels thing. The interesting thing, so this is a promo, but they actually didn't change anything about the card. It still says it's the same number from the set, and it doesn't reference that it's a promo. It just is an alternate art.
Yeah, you're right. It's sort of like it's like the Scavenging Ooze media promo.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
All right, Justin, you can bring us to the full play space.
So we have fetched for a swamp. Looks like Michael is respecting the Blood Moon.
Sure.
As you recall, he did see it in Bernie's graveyard earlier. Yeah. I wonder if Bernie just took them out, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Belf also Raven's Crime there. Bernie discarded a Bolt. And now Bernie's going to suspend Ancestral on turn 1.
That's actually the exact same turn 1 as last game, right? Didn't Mike go turn 1 Raven's Crime?
Yeah, I think so.
Bernie discards a Bolt. Basic Forest, all right. Nice Blood Moon, bruh. I bet Bernie took it out.
I bet he did, yeah. Once you show your opponent, just makes them play.
I think he just has one. No, he's got 2. But he either took 1 out or took both out. There's no way there are 2 Blood Moons in Bernie's deck. There might be 1.
So, Belf just cast Loam there to get back his Bloodstained Mire. And as we saw the last time Belf was on camera, the Loam is really the engine that makes this Value Town deck get its name, which we named, by the way. This is not Belf's own deck name.
Belf, I'm sure, would have a more modest name for it.
Yeah. Green-black Loam, probably. He's going to Dredge Loam. Okay. We hit Knight of Soul's Betrayal and 2 lands. Well, those lands are good to hit, but the Knight of Soul's Betrayal going in there likely means it'll no longer be able to be played.
Though, one nice thing about it is it does put enchantment in the yard for Tarmogoyf.
That's true.
Which is pretty sweet. And, of course, Bernie doesn't have any good ways to get that out of the graveyard. He's got Spellbomb, right? But
yeah.
But Bernie, can't like pinpoint that thing with like a Scavenging Ooze or something.
Right. So
enchantment in the yard's not terrible. And I think, does Mike have an Eternal Witness he can get that back with? Like even just 1 Eternal Witness? Maybe not.
Don't think so. Yes, Pony Slay Station. We're still live. This is the semifinals of the IQ.
Yep. Still live, and as we've said, the winner of this match will be playing Affinity in the finals against
Ken Parsons.
Ken Parson. I wanted to say Ben Carson, but that's a politician.
Sure. All right, so Belf Ravens crimed Bernie, and now he loaned back 3 lands. So he could actually just basically force Bernie to dump his hand next turn by like Ravens criming back a few times, you know, with all the lands he has in his hand. I wonder if that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, you can get Bernie the 0 cards fairly quickly. Unlike the Ghost Quarter loan plan, you can only sort of Ghost Quarter once per turn, unless you have a Courser. You can still you can still only Ghost Quarter once a turn. But with Raven's Crime, you can do it for as much black mana you have every turn.
Right.
So we could see something like that. It'd be interesting to see.
The emptying Bernie's hand might not be super relevant though, because he does have his Ancestral coming down.
Yeah, that, and again, it's Grixis, so the cards in the hand, it's all kind of one thing when you talk about Snapcaster and Colligans.
Right.
There's a permeable membrane between the graveyard and the hand. I really like these Expedition Tech Edges.
Yeah, they're nice.
I just picked up a few of them the other day.
Oh yeah, you did.
They're actually not expensive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I got mine for like 20 something, which I thought was a steal, but yeah, they're just not that much.
So here's Obstinate Baloth. Belf slowing down the loam train here for his 4/4 that gains him 4 life. And Bernie has a push and a bolt. If he has a fetch land, he could push this this Baloth. It looks like he does.
Push the Baloth. Classic modern play.
Yeah, of course.
That Baloth is stubborn. I don't know if he's gonna tolerate being pushed.
We're gonna Dredge Loam again. We get Inquisition, Lily, and Flaying Tendrils. Okay, so he did bring in the Flaying Tendrils. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose if you're bringing in the Night of Soul's Betrayal, you probably want the Flaying Tendrils too, but it does seem markedly worse.
Yeah. I guess it's good in combo? Well, no, it doesn't really kill anything. There's nothing with 3 toughness. It's not good in combination.
Yeah. I suppose if Bernie has like the Storm Chaser Mage coming in. Kill the Storm Chaser Mage.
So Baloth's getting in there for 4. I think Bernie's going to respond with a fetch push. Now Bernie is definitely not playing around his own Blood Moon, so it may be that he took those out. Belf definitely playing around Blood Moon. He has yet to get a non-basic land.
Yeah, to build on your point in chat, optimism. Yeah, you can actually play a lot of Ghost Quarters in a turn, not only with the cards you mentioned, but as I'm sure you also know, Renegade Rallier helps you play an extra Ghost Quarter during the turn. So if you have an Azusa, a Courser, a Ramanop Excavator, all that. If you have the whole 9 yards plus the Renegade Rallier, you can play as many as 3 Ghost Quarters in a turn. Sure.
So Belf, he's gonna loan back 3 lands here. He might go with the triple Ravens Crime, discard 3 lands, because he does have the ever fan favorite Worm Harvest in hand.
Worm Harvest.
Yeah, there's Ravens Crime.
I just don't think Bernie can beat Worm Harvest.
Yeah, maybe not.
That's my intuition.
Ravens Crime, down goes Bolt. Ravens Crime, down goes Colligan's Command. Ravens Crime, down goes Tech Edge. And Visions resolves.
So it looks like Belf does not have the Manamorphose into redirect.
That's true. Target player draws 3 cards.
Doesn't have the swerve or the ricochet trap.
So Bernie has a Spire Bluff Canal, a Colligan's Command, 3 other cards there. It looks like another Ancestral, maybe 2 Ancestrals? I don't think he is. He can't have 2 more Ancestrals, he only has 1 left. Looks like a Terminate as well. And I hope we see some worms start to get harvested here.
Yeah, I think that's inevitable. It's interesting that Night of Soul's Betrayal with Worm Harvest is not super favorable.
That is, yes. Wow, I didn't even think of that.
But I think Mike knows that, whichever one,
you're on one of those plans.
Yeah, both of them are good. You just need one to win.
Yeah.
Of course, last game he lost with Night of Soul's Betrayal, but that was kind of an awkward.
Yeah, that was not
situation.
A good board state for it.
Especially getting your 6-mana Soul of Innistrad terminated for 2 mana.
So Bernie is thinking about suspending another Ancestral. The rest of his hand is all reactive stuff, and he does have a Glen Elendra, but his only land is the tapped Spire Bluff Canal, so he can't actually play that yet. So he is going to suspend another Ancestral. And just going to pass the turn. So this could be the time that we see some worms. Dredge Loam again. Push. Land.
So I think he wants to cycle land, right?
Sure, yeah, that would really get the value train going.
The way this is going, he's not necessarily drawing any cards.
Right.
Because he's dredging instead of drawing. So unless you start to find more retrace cards or cards that can otherwise have value out of your graveyard or cycle lands, you're not exactly drawing anything.
Man, this angle of play is so ridiculous, though. Just the consistent Ravens Crime getting Bernie's hand completely emptied.
Sure, yeah. 3 lands, yeah, that's if I were Bernie, I'd be pretty tilted by this. It's like, Bernie, how could you not think to bring in the Wiltleaf Liege in your sideboard in your Grixis Delver deck?
Oh, we're getting some worms, though. Boom. Is Bernie reading this one? Yeah, we're reading this one. It's not good.
Is the last card in Bernie's hand a remand?
No, it's a Glen Elendra Archmage.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. So maybe
6 worms.
My guess is that Bernie's got this one locked up.
Belf.
I'm sorry, yeah, Belf has this one locked up.
Obviously, the servos are back.
Yeah, Bernie can still engineered explosives, but that'll only take care of like one iteration of Worm Harvest. If he goes Nile Spellbomb into is it Staticaster or Engineered Explosives?
But I doubt he even brought in is it a Staticaster? It doesn't.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it. Usually you don't need your is it Staticaster against the Night of Soul's Betrayal deck.
That's right.
But this is a rare occasion. The Venn diagram of decks where you need is it Staticaster versus decks where you need to be worried about Night of Soul's Betrayal. The Venn diagram, there's not a lot in the middle, but right in the middle, if you look very close, there's Mike Belfatto just staring at you.
It's a tangent. The circles run tangent to each other. There's one point.
Yeah, there's just the one tangent point for those of you that do calculus.
Wow. Bernie is befuddled by this Worm Harvest.
Yeah, he's like, is this even freaking modern legal? Like, what am I?
Well,
I feel like I'm getting punished by this vintage staple, or like by this EDH trash card.
Yeah, Glen Elendra can block the worms, but not too many of them.
Interestingly, Worm Harvest was just printed in Commander's Arsenal or whatever.
Commander 2016.
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Bernie.
Here's Loam.
The other thing about, these spells, these cards just make counter spells just like worthless.
Yeah.
Like you Remand and Mana Leak and all these things against frickin' Worm Harvest and Raven's Crime and Life from the Loam.
Yeah, they're
feels
not great.
Yeah, Bernie needed like a Leyline of the Void. That's what Bernie needed.
Yeah, that would have been really good.
He does have 3 Surgicals, but I'm not even sure he brought them in. We haven't seen a single one yet, have we?
No.
It feels like a weird thing to bring in the black-green deck, right?
Yeah.
Against the black-green, because you want to be actually trading cards for cards, not cards for things in your opponent's library. But
here comes more worms.
I think if Bernie was maybe more, aware of what Mike was doing, he'd have gone for the surgical plan.
Yeah, perhaps.
Maybe he did. Maybe we just haven't seen him. But
so more worms are being deployed, but Glen Elendra is going to stop one iteration of it. And now our worms are getting in there.
Yeah, this it looks like Bernie really did need that Is It Staticaster, which you would never think would be good here, but I guess. Belf knows exactly how to attack his opponents and confuse the shit out of them.
Sure.
So this is working just fine. Bernie doesn't have many outs at all here, I don't think. Unless we see that surgical into
But even then,
Staticaster.
he's got to stop 6 worms. How does he do that? He just took 6. He's down to 6.
So the engineered explosives could be fine, but I doubt he even brought that in. I mean, this is the first game he's seen the worm harvest, so we might see some scoop here pretty soon.
Yeah, this could be end.
And Michael's at a healthy life total of 17, so it's not like Bernie has some out where he can go, bolt snap, bolt Goligans or something.
So be all right. I see that you're in chat. You subscribed to us last night, so thanks again for that. We really appreciate it. And you do have, of course, a good chance to win a Hour of Devastation booster box for doing that this month. So thanks for that. So I don't know, what is Bernie's? He needs some blockers to start. Justin, I'm pretty sure Bernie just took 6 from the worms. If you could update that.
So how do we think this deck of Belfs fares against Affinity next round? Yeah, obviously Night of Soul's Betrayal is good, but it's a little slow.
Flaying Tendrils is good.
Flaying Tendrils is good. Worm Harvest isn't probably the card for that matchup. It's too bad these worms don't fly.
The worms do not have wings. They are not. I don't know what.
No.
Dragons, I guess, are worms with wings. Not really, but
they're no earthworm gyms. That's for sure.
I'm actually very surprised that Belf doesn't have the worm tokens for his card.
Yeah, right. You think if you're literally the only guy in the entire Midwest playing Worm Harvest,
that you could probably acquire some worm tokens.
Yeah, you could flesh out your mantra.
I mean, you have expeditions on every other card. You got invocations. Everything's foil. I feel like you could afford some worm tokens.
Maybe it's because there's no foil worm token yet.
Oh, that could be.
He's waiting for Iconic Masters to come out.
Where they reprint
Worm Harvest because it's such an iconic card.
Right, of course.
And then they reprint the foil tokens.
Sure. Well, the foil tokens actually are now the new F&M promos, so maybe one day we'll see the black and green.
I thought I heard they were going to be an Iconic Masters.
Maybe as well.
So Bernie does have the Young Pyro, but that's you'd have to cast a lot of spells for that to come through for you here.
All right, so he's gonna deal 2 damage to the worm. He's not destroying it as an artifact.
Yeah, these are not servos. These are not servo worms. These are just regular old worms.
But the Kolagon's command is still able to kill it. He got back Young Pyro. He's gonna cast Young Pyro. There's Murderous Cut, and
that's it, folks.
That's gonna do it.
Worm Harvest, man. We have seen Worm Harvest kick the crap out of so many people in the past.
That is a great sideboard.
Really great.
I might put that in my green black deck now that I see how good it is here.
And then you should add the Bitter Blossom.
Yeah, no.
Okay, well, we'll be back very soon, folks. It's going to be Michael Belfatto versus Ken Parson. Green black versus Affinity. Should be very interesting. I'm actually very excited. We saw that Ken is actually a very talented Affinity player earlier today.
Right.
And of course, Michael Belfatto, been on the Pro Tour, prolific player, wonderful deck builder, and sort of a colorful guy. I'm excited for these finals. Don't go away.
Purveyor of worms.
Purveyor of worms. What is it? For Game of Thrones, Mother of Dragons, Purveyor of worms.
Sure.
Thanks for watching Top Deck Productions, your home for live weeknight Magic the Gathering. We'll be back with more live Magic shortly, so stay tuned. Don't forget to follow us here on Twitch to be notified of when we go live. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe as well. You can also check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/TopDeckProductions, on Twitter at twitter.com/TopDeckProds, and YouTube at youtube.com/TopDeckProductionsStream.